Our top story this Monday, a wide-scale federal immigration crackdown did not materialize as expected over the weekend, but it may have gotten underway in a less conspicuous manner. CBS's Laura Podesta reports from New York.
The nationwide crackdown on illegal immigration promised by the White House did not begin as expected this weekend.
They're going to take people out and they're going to bring them back to their countries, or they're going to take criminals out, put them in prison, or put them in prison in the countries they came from.
But there have been few reports of unusual activity by immigration agents. That could soon change, the New York Times says. Instead of one massive simultaneous sweep, the ICE operation is being carried out as a series of smaller raids, spread out over several days. The acting head of Customs and Border Protection said his agency is just doing its job.
The individuals that ICE goes after, and they do this every single day, are not individuals that are here undocumented. They're individuals that are here illegally.
Many Democrats have criticized the Trump administration's handling of the situation.
There are a lot of families in our country that are mixed or blended families, where in that household there are documented immigrants, there are undocumented immigrants, there are people who have visas, and they're living in abject fear.
About 2,000 people are believed to be targeted by the raids. The White House says each has been issued a final order of removal from an immigration judge. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
ICE operations were expected to occur in at least 10 cities. Officials in a number of those communities limited immigration agents' access to local police databases and took other measures to shield migrants from federal raids. And also making headlines this morning, Beryl did not deliver the epic flooding that many feared, but the storm continues to pack a punch as it moves inland. On Saturday, it became the first hurricane to make landfall in the U.S. this season. Beryl dumped more than a foot of rain on some communities. It was downgraded to a tropical depression last night. Closer to home, in case you missed it over the weekend, 9 people were rescued on the Yellowstone River when the weather went south, turning from a beautiful morning to a stormy afternoon. Rescue boats brought 6 men and 3 women to Riverside Park in Laurel around 6 o'clock Saturday evening. The group had planned a trip from Sportsman Park to Riverside. When the weather turned bad, one of the women called her father, who called the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department. Deputy Chief J.W. Hopper says the call came in around 4:40 that afternoon. The weather delayed the launching of the Yellowstone County Sheriff's boat and a citizen's boat. Lieutenant Kent O'Donnell says the group made a decision to get out of the water and made it to an island. One of the men hit his head, but firefighters examined him and he was okay. It appeared they used toy-like rafts and tubes to float the river. Caution on campus for MSUB students and staff after a mountain lion was spotted. The big cat was spotted on campus just before 10 o'clock Friday night. A public safety advisory was issued after the sighting was confirmed by Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks. The mountain lion was observed in the area of Virginia and Silver Lane. People should take precautions with children and small pets during outdoor activities, especially at night. FWP says mountain lion and bear activity is not uncommon in the Billings area due to the abundance of deer, pets, and other attractants. The commissioning of a new U.S. warship is a Navy tradition that dates back to 1775. One of the Navy's newest warships, the USS Billings, is set to have its first crew members aboard for a commissioning ceremony coming up in August. This will mark the first crew to get an unofficial designation that comes with some bragging rights. Q2's Mitch Laggy introduces us to 2 Billings-based companies who are making sure the first USS Billings crew gets a plank owner's plaque.
When the USS Billings welcomes its first crew aboard, the sailors will be greeted with a Montana-made reminder of the city the ship is named after. The first crew on a U.S. Navy ship are called plank owners, a title that's not officially recognized by the Navy, but rather issued by crew members of the ship. The USS Billings Commissioning Committee approached Dovetail Designs, a Billings-based woodworking company, to create a unique plaque commemorating the first crew.
We saw this as an opportunity to be of service to Billings and to the United States and to the Navy in dedication of this ship that's named after this city. We immediately went to the shape of Montana. We started different designs. We tried old barnwood and it didn't work. Now we're cutting these into maple.
There were 145 plaques to be made. Months of work went into making them a reality. First, they're mocked up in a computer-assisted design program. Then, it's off to the CNC router to cut out the shape of Montana and the space for the USS Billings commemorative coin. Then, the planks are taken to Engravable's custom laser, where the rest of the design is cut out, including the designation of the ship, the commissioning date, keel laying date, launching date, and every sailor's name. Engravable's owner, Dennis Crowder, has worked on other projects for the military.
And I like to help out in different communities. It gives me a warm fuzzy. A few years ago, I did one for Columbus. We did stainless steel plates, and major expensive, but major rewards. It was for the soldiers in Stillwater County.
After the plaques are done being engraved, they're back to Dovetail for some sanding, clear coat, and a glaze. From start to finish, these plaques were made with the heart and soul of the Magic City.
To be a part of an effort is to be connected to this community. It is to be connected to this ship, and it is connected to the U.S. Navy.
In Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
The sailors will receive those plaques at the USS Billings commissioning ceremony scheduled for August 3rd in Key West, Florida, and Q2 will be there to cover the ceremony. Oh, one last story before we take a break. This month's awaiting child is 12-year-old Nathaniel from Missoula. MTN's Katie Miller introduces us to the fun-loving, outdoorsy kid who is looking for a family to explore with.
Hello. Probably one of the most favorite things is to do is hang out with family.
Nathaniel wants a family that is adventurous and loving.
I probably like someone who's athletic, who likes to do a lot of things, and probably have a ranch, they ride horses and stuff. Yeah. And someone who likes to go exploring. I'm an exploratory person.
He likes hiking and anything active that you can do outside.
I'll practically do anything.
But horseback riding is his favorite hobby.
I like to control the horses and I would go feel the wind when they go. Plus it's like the feeling when they start running, you kind of hop up. Yeah, that's the fun part.
Nathaniel got separated from his 4 brothers, and he says it's been hard. But he hopes his new family will help him see them.
I'd rather see them than not see them at all.
Nathaniel also likes trying new sports, like wrestling.
I don't do it to win, I honestly do it just to have fun.
And he spends a lot of time swimming.
Yeah, I just like feel the nice feeling of the water.
He wants to be adopted by someone that lives in the mountains and likes trying new things.
Someone who likes to do archery and hunting. So I won't get into that stuff.
And he says some siblings might be nice.
Oh, mine 1 or 2 kids. I mean, I love horseback buddy.
In Missoula, Katie Miller, MTN News.
For more information about adopting in Montana, you can call the Department of Health and Human Services at 1-866-9-FOSTER.